cognizant of time, I'm just going to go over some logistical things first before I share screen with you all. So we are so excited to have all of you here today to learn more about the pathways into leadership with NIRSA and the infographic that was developed to kind of help describe and illustrate these pathways. And so to kind of get us started, you know, we'll make sure that we're on mute. The session is being recorded so we can share this out to others. And if you have any comments or questions about the content for the first 25 minutes of the presentation, if you could please leave that in the chat. It's going to be more of a presentation for the first section, and then what we'll do is we will break out into the breakout rooms. I know that there are individuals who have selected a breakout room and some of you who have not, and that's totally appropriate. So if you've got any questions about that, you can put that in the chat as well. All right, we all ready to get started? You can do some high fives or some, you know, high thumbs and the reactions or your own. All right. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and get things rolling here. Oh, and we just went, okay, hold on. See, there we go. Let me get started. You all would think that, you know, being a teacher, that this would be ready to roll, right? Okay. Give me one more second. Okay, we should be good. Okay. So wanted to just welcome all of you. My name is Cara, Lucia. For those of you who don't know me, we are so excited again to talk a little bit about the pathways into leadership, and you know, having you have some time to kind of think about and reflect on your own pathway. Very excited to have a variety of facilitators with us during this presentation. Craig Decker, Chris Dennison, Leah Hall Dorothy, Juliana Frigerio, Augustus Hallman, myself, Anaja Newsom, and Tanika Santos. And we, during this presentation today, I really thought it was important for us to just list everyone alphabetically, because every role that we play within the association is an important one. So we're excited to begin this journey with all of you today. So, you know, the purpose of this presentation is for us to just talk about whatever skill level you are, wherever you are in your career path, your availability of your time that you currently have based on your personal and professional life that you're navigating. We're hoping to be able to kind of tap into what areas of pathways you may be interested in pursuing within the association. And so Chris Dennison and I will be taking you on this first part of the voyage. Chris actually was part of the member network and worked closely with member network along with students to create this infographic that we're going to be sharing with you all today to discuss a little bit further. I think one of the things that's important about this presentation is that this can be used for your personal use, but I would also encourage each of you, as you are mentoring your colleagues and friends, to share this information with them as well as they kind of progress through their leadership journey. So kind of before we get started, I just wanted to focus on what is our kind of plan for today. And so today we're going to be focusing on this leadership pathway infographic that was developed. So understanding our various pathways. That's the intent for this presentation. However, I did want to share with all of you, we've been doing a lot of critical work in looking at inequities within the association based off of leadership pathways. And so our hope over this, this upcoming year and continuous work will be looking at identifying barriers that prevent entry into leadership pathways and evaluating our selection and recruitment systems and structures and processes. This will be done through some of our work with our strategic plan that the board is working on, as well as strategies for bringing someone in from the outside to review and evaluate our current structures. And it's important to kind of hone in that this idea of how we invest in the leadership of our organization will be continuous listening and learning and leading. And we're really hoping that you have opportunities to have a deeper dialogue about this as you all engage in the breakout rooms today. We wanted to just kind of highlight, and of course there, you know, you can ask questions in your breakout rooms, but there are some upcoming opportunities that applications are being submitted for. So we're currently accepting applications for the at-large director and president-elect for the NIRSA board. Right now we're doing an initial application, and those applications can be found online, and that's due October 7th. And then what will happen is after the initial application, we will invite identified candidates to complete the full application by November 6th. Then we have a variety of committee applications that includes NIRSA, the Champ Series, and Foundation. And you're going to see that they're opening on November 18th and will be due January 27th. In addition, here are more additional leadership applications that can be submitted for the following opportunities. And again, I just highlight that you share this for your own personal use, but also speak with your colleagues and friends where you think that they might be of great assistance with the association and serving the association. So in regards to, we're going to talk a little bit about competencies, and I'm actually going to get ready to turn this over to Chris to talk about how they went about starting this work with the leadership pathways. So Chris, do you want to go ahead and take over from here?
Yeah, sure. I was great to see that last slide, as so many of the things that are going to be talked about in the chat room are in different zones of what we're going to talk about later. So that was great to see that. So just a quick review of the competencies that you can find pretty easily on the NIRSA website. Obviously, there's programming, philosophy and theory, personal and professional qualities, research and evaluation, legal and risk, human resources, business, and facility management. So those are the sectors that we have in the competencies. So I'll talk about the history of how we got to where we did on this project and the member network here in a minute. But one thing I wanted to focus on is that we have so many competencies that can be attained through volunteerism and leadership opportunities within NIRSA. We also know that because our population, members of NIRSA, are so engaged, want to be involved in something, want to volunteer, and are such great mentors to not only students, but coworkers as well, that there are a lot of things that can be done in terms of gaining growth and competencies in their work outside NIRSA as well. And so that was one of the things that our subgroup in the member network talked about as we started this process. We talked about things like, getting some competency growth through, working with a board at a YMCA or local Parks and Recreation Department, or serving on the AOR board, or, officiating college basketball games. There's certainly growth there. And then we also have people within the association that come from different career tracks in senior leadership roles within the association, including coming from the student union area or coming from fraternity and sorority life. So we know that competencies can be gained not only in leadership and volunteer roles within NIRSA, but outside too. And when those things come together, we really have the ability to have some excellent leadership qualities that can be found within members within NIRSA. So if we can move to the next slide. So how this process started. The member network, some of you guys, I see obviously some familiar names here today. So some of you guys already know this, but each year the member network has a few what we call tactics of things that they work on. And the member network is divided up into small work groups. And they work together throughout the year to develop products that meet whatever the tactic happens to be for the year. And some of that is just general communication with their regions. But in this particular case, in this last year, we worked on the bylaws for the association, the code of ethics for the association, as well as this project right here. And so there was a 4-person team that worked on this particular project. So that was Katie Harmon from University of Arkansas, who is the Region 4 student rep. Jules, who's on this, who's going to be leading the first group today, from University of Alabama, who is the Region 2 rep. Jason Wright from University of Victoria, and then myself. So we worked throughout the year to do our research, to find out what we've done in the past in NIRSA, look at the resources available within NIRSA on the website, and then come up with a product that hopefully was going to be helpful in people understanding how they can use the pathway to gain leadership opportunities as well as mentor, as you had already mentioned earlier, and did a great job on that. So we went through multiple drafts of this project. We took it out to the regional conferences, each one of the regions that met this year, and in Region 3, some of the state workshops as well, because we know they don't have a regional conference every year. We gained information from those particular conferences and workshops, tweaked what we had, took it back to the board. They had some suggestions for it. We went back and tweaked it again. And then Sarah and Christine at HQ really got busy with our marketing and graphics team to kind of fine tune the end product, which you'll see here in a minute. So if you can go to the next one. Leah, we put this slide in for you. There you go. So we spent a lot of time talking about the words journey and the words pathways. We landed on pathways. We spent a lot of time with pens and pencils trying to diagram things out and come up with a model of how we were going to do this. And like I said before, we had so many people engaged in this project and had so many great ideas that came in from a collective group. So this was just one of the kind of fun, quick drawings, I think, that came together. So thanks, Leah, for that. And now we'll move on to what we landed on, which we're very excited about. Okay, so this can actually be found on the website now. So previously, before last year, when you went on the website, there were there's a get involved section on the website, and you would see a listing of all of the different volunteer opportunities that we have within NIRSA. And so it was just a scrolling list, really. And if somebody wasn't leading you through that conversation about what's on that list, you could spend a considerable amount of time trying to figure out where you're at in your pathway, where you're at in your career, what kinds of leadership opportunities you want to have. And you could kind of get bogged down in that a little bit. And so this graphic here was the end result of us trying to figure out a real quick, nice graphic of where maybe people fit within their pathway, and then can seek out mentoring or, as Cara put it, sponsorship in terms of working with your mentors to figure out where you should be on here and what kind of opportunities you want to have. So we're pretty proud and excited to have this particular graphic. And what we're going to do at this time is we're going to have each one of the breakout room facilitators give us a quick brief on their particular section, which they're going to be leading here in a minute. And they're going to give us a couple of examples of where they fit in this graphic as well, and why they're facilitating that chat room. So Jules, we'll start with you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Chris. I'm going to start with the emerging leaders kind of mountain that we're going to start with. It's the active volunteers portion of NIRSA. So this is when you're kind of tipping your toes in the water. You're looking to kind of have a better understanding of the association as a whole. Some ways that you can get involved or kind of identify as an emerging leader is to volunteer at regional and local events. So state workshops or kind of some of these ideas and notions are a great way to stay involved with this. Volunteering with the NIRSA Championship Series, whether that's kind of like as an official or as a committee volunteer, and then volunteering at annual conference. So that's going to look a little bit different this year for a lot of us, and same with the regional conferences, but there's still a way to be involved and kind of have that understanding as you're still learning what NIRSA is.
Okay, thank you. Gus?
Hi, so Augustus Hallman, and I am going to be moderating the Engaged Leaders section. This section is really a step up where we are going to, you have taken on a more leadership role within the organization. So there could be state or professional leaders as well. You decided that you want to be involved in a committee that has a sustainable change or work function within NIRSA. So I am currently a part of the Research and Assessment Committee and newly a part of the HBCU committee. And so through those committees, I try to help give guidance and my expertise to help them grow their respective areas, give insight and different perspectives for them to consider. And so I look forward to talking with you more about this engaged leaders role.
Okay, thanks. Naja, you want to go next?
Hi, everyone. My name is Naja Newsome. I'm the Assistant Director at the University of South Florida, and I will be leading the Developing Leaders section, and look forward to speaking with you all about opportunities to really create ideas and contribute direction to further the association. So developing leaders are subject matter experts, and they're able to serve in roles like the program chair, which I'll serve as the 2022 chair for the program committee for the annual conference event, education session reviewers, things like that. And I look forward to answering your questions and speaking with you a little bit more about how you can help create or contribute ideas to further the direction of the association.
All right, thank you. Craig and Tanika?
Hi, everyone. My name is Craig Decker. I am the current member network chair for this year, which will end in 2021. We're going to be co-facilitating the advanced leaders group. And the thought leader piece there is, I think, fairly critical to define kind of what this one means. These individuals are somebody who's been around the association for a bit. They've done all the different things that have already been mentioned and kind of built their competencies that way. And then really, these are the people who are serving as those volunteers for those kind of the different arms of the governance and structures within NIRSA. So you see the examples there, the member network that Tanika and I will kind of represent today. We also have some assembly folk on this call as well as the others. So it's just an opportunity to further engage with the association and really be a leader through the different kind of groups that we have in the governance model.
Okay, great. Thanks, Craig. Leah, we'll finish up with you.
Great, thanks everybody. Hi, I am Leah Hall-Dorothy. I'm currently the Executive Director at Oregon State University. And I will be talking about the Strategic Leaders section. And this is inspiring the big picture. And as it says there, we're looking at the vision and the direction of the organization, but also our profession. And how can we help create that direction for you, not only on your own campus, but for us as professionals in higher education. So the types of things there are the board of directors, the foundation board, and the National Services, NIRSA Services Corporation. And through this, we're going to talk about strategic thinking, decision-making, and critical thinking, and how do you develop those competencies along the way with everything else you're doing, both inside NIRSA and outside NIRSA, to get to that level of being a strategic leader.
All right, thank you, Leah.
Thanks.
Okay, Cara, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, great. Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone. So just kind of going back to this idea, I believe many of you, as you've heard, you've seen yourself in some of those roles already where you've engaged in the association. And so just kind of highlighting the importance of, sharing this with your mentors, but then also using it with students and professionals that you're mentoring. And, thinking about how you may intentionally tap others in regards to sponsorship when you see that they have a competency that would be an asset to one of the pathways of from the infograph. The other part that's really, it's kind of exciting, when you think about, I was sitting here reflecting and hearing everyone speak and then seeing some of you join the call. This whole process of how we integrate our leadership pathways can be reciprocal, and it's amazing to kind of see how you work through that journey, and that it's a continuous journey. So as you're working through that throughout this conversation, think about how you're going to share this with others. One of the hopes for today is that really for you to have some time to understand yourself and do some self-reflection on your current competencies. And think about what does that inventory look like, where you are right now, personally and professionally, what kind of time that you have that you want to give, how would you want to engage, what are the areas within, developing the profession and contributing to the profession, how would you want to contribute your abilities to that. And think about too, what a lot of times in these opportunities, currently I serve as president designee on the board. I'm also learning and developing throughout that experience. So it's an opportunity for me to be able to bring the competencies that I have, but then I've also been able to develop professionally throughout this experience and engage with various members across the association. The other thing too is I would encourage you to step into risk, even if there's hesitancy about what the experience might be. Ask a lot of questions, engage in the breakout sessions. Feel free to reach out to these groups. I'll share one brief story. I remember it was probably 15 years ago, I wanted to serve on the research committee. And I completely forgot to put in an application. It was a research and assessment committee. And I called Stacy Hall. She was currently serving as the chair. And I said, hey, I'm really interested in an opportunity to be on the research and assessment committee. I missed the deadline. And I said, I'm not asking to be on the committee. Is there any way I can just join the meetings and listen? And I'm not even going to include it on my resume. And so, I think a lot of those conversations about just reaching out and asking people about their experiences has been the most beneficial for me as I've tried to navigate that journey. And, reach out to various mentors that you have, and also just colleagues that you've worked with before. If you've worked on a committee or had an experience where you were engaging with the university or with the association, ask them how you did. What were the benefits of having you as part of that group? And that'll kind of help you think about what contributions you'll be making. So I'm going to turn it back over to Chris to talk, to connect a little bit the pathway and how we can use it.
Sure, and this graphic is great. I'm so glad that you got this graphic actually on a tabletop.
Yeah, I know. I was having fun with that.
Cara and I had this really fun conversation the other day as we were developing this presentation about, you remember back in the day when you were in front of your mentor's desk and all of a sudden a piece of paper got put in front of you and there's the placemat. And so there it is. And so we really want people to think about this as when you're going to have conversations with your mentor, that you would actually put this in front of them and say, look, let's talk about this. Or if a student or a coworker comes to you and says, I want to see where I fit in, they come into the meeting and you already have this ready for them and put it down on the desk and say, okay, let's talk through this whole thing. We really wanted to see this not only being accessible on the website, but we also wanted people to have a tangible piece that they could use in meetings with their mentors and mentees. So that was kind of the thought here. And this graphic does such a great job of telling that story, Cara, because we've all been on both sides of the table, right? So
that's right, we have.
I thought that was,
sure.
I thought that was perfect. In fact, that probably looks like Leah's desk right there, right?
Yeah, that's the whole part of the journey right there. You're sitting on different sides of the table.
That's where I started drawing from.
That's right.
There you go.
All right. So with that, what we want to do is spend the next, what do we have? We have 35 minutes left to get into the breakout rooms.
And
I saw Sarah post a note saying if you think you're not in the right breakout room now that you've got a little bit more knowledge about what we're doing today, send her a chat and send her a chat in the chat bar, and then she'll go ahead and she'll put you in a different chat room based on what you want to learn about today. So with that, I think we're ready to head off to the chat rooms, Cara.
Yeah, and the last thing I would just say, for today, as we break out, feel free to reach out to any of us that are facilitators to talk about any of these pathways. We would love to have one-on-one conversations with you. And just so you know, Chris and I are going to be bouncing around if we can make it work. So enjoy your breakout rooms. All right, and we look forward to hearing some feedback.